Alright, let's do this. These are atoms. They make up compounds. Sometimes the compounds are big, and sometimes the compounds are small. But all of the time, they're held together by, you guessed it, bonds. Jump scare, I'm back. Well, let's start with the simplest type of bond, ionic. Ionic bonds are what create salts, or more accurately, salts are just ionic compounds. The most famous salt is, well, the salt you eat every day, table salt. It's just sodium and chlorine bonded via ionic bonding. Another salt you eat a lot is baking soda, or chemically, sodium bicarbonate. You can see the ion right there. Another salt is drain cleaner, or lye, which is sodium hydroxide. All that talk about ions has gotten you confused, probably not. So what is an ion exactly? I know you didn't ask that, but I'm gonna answer it anyway. Ions are simply atoms with an imbalanced number of electrons, where their electron count doesn't match their proton count. So a positively charged ion is one that lacks an electron, called a cation, and a negatively charged one is an anion. And since opposites attract, they attract each other. Now, you gotta know the most basic rule of chemistry, the octet rule. Or the duplet rule. It's all the same. Every single atom wants to have a full outer shell of electrons. And to be full, that outer shell has to have either 8 electrons if it has more than one shell, or 2 electrons if it only has one shell. This is the octet rule. It's the basis of all of chemistry, and is a major reason why chemicals do the things they do. Take for example, sodium and chlorine. You can see that sodium really wants to get rid of that last electron there, since it would move to a lower energy state and get full valence. And chlorine just begging and begging to get one more electron to fill its outer shell. Boom, it's a match made in heaven. They both have what each other want. They're perfect for each other. So when a mommy atom and a daddy atom love each other very much, the daddy atom gives the mommy atom an electron. And then she gives birth to 2 ions, an anion and a cation. And since opposites attract, they attract to each other and stick together. And this eventually piles up into crystals, like salt. So that's it. You can see chlorine gets an electron, fills its outer shell. Sodium loses an electron, moves down a shell into a full shell. So that's it. Ionic bonding is just taking and giving electrons. It's an exchange to make people happy. Next up is covalent bonding. So, covalent bonding is all about shared custody. For example, 2 hydrogens both want an electron to fill their outer shell. So they form a covalent bond. One hydrogen shares their electron and the other does the same. These 2 electrons are called the bonding pair. You can also have double bonds and triple bonds as well. Like the air you breathe is double bonded, and the nitrogen in the air is triple bonded. Some examples of covalent bonding include glass, plastic, air, water, and nearly everything you're seeing right now. That's all for covalent bonds. Now, we're moving on to metallic bonds. Okay, so I don't have much time, so I'm going to explain this pretty quickly. You know the saying, it takes a village to raise a child? Yeah, it's that. But the village is just a bunch of nuclei, and the child is actually just sextillions of electrons. The basis of metallic bonding is pretty much just a sea of electrons being shared with a bunch of electrons. What? Since they're not rigidly bonded, they allow stuff such as malleability and conductivity instead of brittle insulators like covalent and ionic bonding. That's all, bye.